Okay, so for this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to put an extension on the back of your skirt, which will create a slit, which will help with ease of movement. If your skirt's really narrow or tight fitting, a peg skirt would definitely require some sort of a slit in the back or the side, wherever you choose. So I've traced out my skirt back here. I've got it traced out. Once again, remember there are no seam allowances or hem allowances on this sloper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an extension down the back here. So I want my slit in the back of this skirt. I'm going to say I want to have this 6 inches. So this is where this mark here is. So it's 6 inches up from the bottom. I want my extension piece, or basically it's going to be like a facing because it's going to get folded back into the body of the back of the skirt to create a little bit of weight where the slit is with the fabric. So I'm going to make this 2 inches deep. That's fairly good for the back of a skirt, depending on your fabric. If you've got something that's very lightweight, you may want to make it a little bit narrower, but basic standard industry standard is about 2 inches. So you see I've now joined up that to the bottom of my skirt hem. Now I want to decide on this top line here. So I'm going to do this on a bit of an angle. I want to have just a slight angle. That's about almost 45 degrees. So this here is where, once I've added my seam allowances and I sew up my back seam, if I've put a zipper in the back, my zipper is going to be up in this area here. I'm going to stitch from the bottom of my zipper down to this mark here. I'll put a hole in it here just with an awl so that I know that I have to mark that on my fabric when I've done my pattern. I'm also going to add my seam allowances. So for the sake of this one, we're going to do 5/8 of an inch. Now I'm lining up my my ruler along the edge here. I'm using a fat marker, so I'm actually adding a little bit more than 5/8 of an inch. If I was cutting this out, I would want to make sure I'd be cutting it right on the inside edge of that line. This is where, when you do this on your actual pattern that you're sewing, you want to make sure you maintain accuracy. If I line up 5/8 of an inch on the outside edge of this black line here, and I'm coming to the inside edge of this pink line. Okay, so you're going to add all the way around your seam allowance, your hem allowance. Generally on a straight skirt, a hem allowance is about 1.5 inches. So here we have 1.5 inches. From here, I'm going to make sure that I have this accurate right here. So I'm going to bring this across. I'm going to bring my back extension down to 1.5 inches. Now you can trace this line all the way across. You see, if I happen to have had my ruler in the wrong spot, or my marker, I can get that line off a little. So I might want to just go back and double check that I am accurate there. So I'm going to trace all the way around my skirt with my seam allowance. So now this is my pattern piece with seam allowances. I'm just going to trace. You're going to definitely do this accurately. I'm going to trace this all the way around. I'm also going to fold my dart out again. Make sure that I get the peak of my dart accurate. 5/8 of an inch down here. So now I have a skirt back pattern with an extension piece that I can fold back once I've stitched, and it will create a finished edge down on the opening for a slit. It could also, I will show you how to do it into a pleat as well. So I've now got this done. So I am going to cut my pattern out.